The Wasp whisperer. I always thought sisters were supposed to be your best friends. That's what all the TV shows made me believe anyway. But my reality in Nashville, Tennessee, was nothing like those perfect family sitcoms. My name is Vanessa Mitchell, and at 12 years old, I was already fighting a war at home that nobody knew about. My sister, Olivia, was 3 years older than me, and for as long as I could remember, she had made my life a living nightmare. She wasn't just mean or annoying like siblings can sometimes be, she was downright cruel. The rage inside her seemed bottomless, and somehow I had become her favorite target. I think she blamed me for our dad leaving, even though I was just a baby when he took off. Mom worked long hours at the hospital as a nurse, so most of the time, it was just me and Olivia at home, with no witnesses to what went on between us. I still remember the day she pushed me off my bike and I broke my arm. She told Mom I had been reckless, riding too fast down the hill. I was only 8 then, and Mom believed her. That was just the beginning. As we got older, things got worse. She would corner me in rooms, pinch me until I bruised, pull my hair when no one was looking, and whisper the most horrible things in my ear. "Nobody wants you here," she'd say. "You're the reason Dad left." Words that cut deeper than any physical pain. Even my sweet dog, Buddy, wasn't safe from her cruelty. Buddy was my only real friend at home, the only one who showed me unconditional love. One afternoon, I was sitting on the porch with him, just enjoying his company with my hand resting on his golden fur, when Olivia stormed out. She hated seeing me happy, even in those small moments. She yanked Buddy away from me by his collar so hard that he yelped and limped for days afterward. Mom thought he just hurt himself jumping off the couch. She never suspected Olivia. School was my only escape. There, I had friends, teachers who praised my writing, and most importantly, 7 hours away from Olivia's hateful glares. But eventually, that afternoon bell would ring, and I'd have to go back to my battlefield of a home. Over time, I learned to fight back with words. I discovered that I could hurt her too, pointing out her insecurities, the pimple on her forehead she tried to hide, or how the popular girls at her school only invited her to parties because her friend Mackenzie was dating the host's brother. But verbal jabs only got me so far. If I ever tried to push back physically, even in self-defense, she would scream like I was murdering her, bringing Mom running if she was home. Vanessa hit me. She would wail while I stood there, fresh bruises forming on my arms from where she had grabbed me moments before. By the time I turned 12, I had developed a sort of emotional armor. I could take her insults without flinching, could dodge most of her physical attacks, and had learned to lock my bedroom door at night. But that summer, something inside me changed. Maybe it was the heat, or maybe I had finally reached my breaking point, but I started thinking about revenge. Not just fantasizing about it like I had for years, but actually planning it. It was the beginning of June when Olivia's cruelty reached new heights. She was excited about a country music festival coming to Nashville that weekend. She and her friends had been talking about it for months, saving up for tickets, planning their outfits. It was all she cared about. And somehow, her excitement made her even more vicious toward me. That Monday, she dumped my backpack into the toilet because I had used her hairbrush, even though Mom had bought it for both of us. On Tuesday, she stole my allowance money from my desk drawer. By Wednesday, she was threatening to tell lies to my friends about me if I didn't do her chores. Thursday, she threw away my science project that was due the next day, forcing me to stay up all night redoing it. But Friday was the worst. Friday changed everything. I was heading downstairs with a basket of laundry when Olivia came storming up. She was in one of her moods, furious about something I probably had nothing to do with. She stood at the top of the stairs, her eyes filled with that familiar hatred. "Get out of my way, brat," she spat. When I didn't move fast enough, she pushed me hard. I dropped the basket and barely caught myself on the railing, my heart pounding as I realized how close I'd come to tumbling down 15 wooden steps. While I was still catching my breath, shaking with fear and adrenaline, she leaned in close to my ear. "Next time, I might just grab a knife from the kitchen," she whispered. "Nobody would miss you anyway." Something broke inside me at that moment. A line had been crossed. This wasn't just mean sister behavior. This was dangerous. This was threatening my life. And in that moment, the plan that had been forming in my mind for days suddenly crystallized. I knew exactly what I was going to do. I retreated to my room, letting the fake tears flow until I heard her stomp downstairs, satisfied that she had won again. But once my door was closed, my tears dried up instantly, replaced by a cold, calculated smile. Little did Olivia know, I had been preparing all week for this moment. The previous weekend, Dad had made one of his rare appearances, taking me to the hardware store as some kind of guilt offering. While he was looking at power tools, I had wandered to the gardening section and spotted something interesting: a wasp trap. The kind with sweet-smelling liquid that attracts wasps and then drowns them. The store clerk had explained how it worked when he saw me examining it, and something about his explanation had planted a seed in my mind. I had used my saved-up allowance to buy it, not knowing exactly why at the time, just feeling like I might need it. Now, that trap was hidden under my bed, and I had been methodically putting my plan into action all week. Each time Olivia had done something horrible, and I'd retreated to my room in fake tears, I had actually been gathering just under a tablespoon of the sticky, sweet wasp trap solution and sneaking into our shared bathroom to add it to her shampoo and conditioner bottles. Just a little each time, not enough for her to notice immediately. But after her threat on Friday, just hours before her precious concert, I decided to escalate. The wasp trap solution wasn't enough punishment for someone who had just threatened to stab me. So I reached under my bed and pulled out another container, a small plastic bottle that I had been filling with my own urine throughout the week. I had initially thought it was too disgusting to actually use, too far beyond what even Olivia deserved. But after what happened on the stairs, nothing seemed off limits anymore. The urine bottle had spent days sitting on my windowsill where the hot Tennessee sun had baked it, making it even more rancid. The smell when I opened it made me gag, but the thought of Olivia using it in her hair gave me the strength to continue. I carefully mixed some into her shampoo and conditioner, along with more of the wasp trap solution, making sure to shake the bottles well so everything blended together. I could hear Olivia downstairs, talking excitedly on the phone about the concert. "I'm going to wear my new denim skirt. Yeah, I know Brad will be there." She was already running late. Her friends were picking her up in less than an hour, and she hadn't even started getting ready. Perfect. When I heard her rushing up the stairs, I quickly ducked back into my room. Through my cracked door, I watched her dash into the bathroom, already pulling her t-shirt over her head. "Mom!" she shouted down the stairs. "Tell Mackenzie I'll be ready in 40 minutes if she calls." I sat on my bed, heart racing, as I listened to the shower turn on. Would she notice something was off about her shampoo? Would she smell the horrible concoction I'd created? Minutes ticked by, and I heard her singing some Taylor Swift song, completely oblivious to what was happening to her hair and scalp. The shower shut off, and soon the blow dryer started up. I heard her rustling around, probably applying makeup and getting dressed. As soon as she left the bathroom, I slipped in and quickly poured out some of the tainted shampoo and conditioner, replacing it with a mixture of water and floury soap I had prepared earlier. I needed to cover my tracks in case she became suspicious later. The smell of her cheap perfume wafted under the door as she sprayed herself liberally. That perfume would mask any lingering odor from my mixture, at least for a little while. "Mom, they're here." Olivia.